You ever scroll through your phone and just feel broke? Like someone you went to school with just bought a house. Another person is on their third vacation this year. Your old coworker is posting about their investment portfolio, and you're sitting there eating last night's leftovers wondering if you missed a class. Like somewhere between childhood and adulthood, there was this one lesson about money that everybody attended except you. That feeling? That quiet little voice that says everyone has it figured out and you're the only one winging it. Yeah, that feeling is lying to you. And today we're going to talk about why. Because this isn't just about money. This goes way deeper than budgets and savings accounts. This is about how your brain was literally built to make you feel this way. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So let's go back, way back. For almost all of human history, people didn't live in cities. They didn't have social media. They didn't have coworkers or Instagram feeds or mortgage announcements on LinkedIn. They lived in small groups, like really small, 50 to 150 people, all of whom you knew personally. And in that world, knowing where you stood compared to everyone else wasn't just interesting, it was survival. If you had less food than the people around you, that was a problem worth panicking about. If your shelter was worse, that mattered. If your standing in the group slipped, you could lose access to resources, to protection, to everything. So your brain built a system, a constant background process that ran 24 hours a day, scanning, comparing, measuring you against the people around you. Psychologist Leon Festinger called this social comparison theory back in 1954. And what he found was that humans don't just compare themselves to others occasionally. We do it automatically, constantly, and almost always upward. We don't look at the person below us on the ladder. We look at the person one rung above. In a small tribe of 100 people, that instinct made sense. The gap between you and the most successful person in your group was real, visible, and closable. You could actually do something about it. But then the world changed, and your brain didn't get the update. Now, instead of tracking 150 people you actually know, your brain is trying to process the highlight reels of millions of strangers online. And here's the thing that nobody talks about enough. What you are seeing online is not real life. It is a performance of real life. Nobody posts the overdraft notification. Nobody shares the moment they realize they'd been living on credit for 2 years. Nobody makes a reel about calling their parents to borrow money again. What you see is the vacation, not the debt that paid for it. The new car, not the 7-year loan attached to it. The house, not the help from family that made the down payment possible. And your ancient comparison brain, which evolved to read social signals accurately in a small, honest community, takes all of that filtered, curated, highlight reel content and treats it like hard data, like proof, like evidence that everyone else genuinely has it together. They don't. There's actually research on this. The Financial Industry Regulatory Authority ran a study in 2021 and found that across the board, most people dramatically overestimate their own financial knowledge. People who rated themselves as very financially confident couldn't answer basic questions about interest rates and inflation correctly. The confidence you see in other people is very often not competence. It is a performance of competence. And the scary part? Most of the time, even they don't realize they're performing. Psychologists call what happens next pluralistic ignorance. It's this wild phenomenon where almost everyone in a group privately feels uncertain or confused. But because everyone is publicly acting confident, each person assumes they are the only one who doesn't get it. So they keep performing, and everyone around them keeps performing, and the whole thing just keeps going. That's exactly what's happening with money. Most people around you are privately stressed, confused, and figuring it out as they go. But because everyone performs financial confidence, because nobody talks about the real numbers, the debt, the anxiety, the months where it barely worked out, everyone walks around convinced they are the one exception, the one person who missed the lesson. And that silence? It didn't start with social media, it started at home. Think about it. How much did your parents actually talk to you about money growing up? Not in a stressful, things are tight kind of way, but actually sit down and explain how a credit card works, what a good interest rate looks like, how to build savings from a salary that doesn't feel like enough. For most people, the answer is almost nothing. Money was private. Money was a little bit shameful. You watched your parents stress about it behind closed doors and absorbed the message that struggling financially was a personal failure rather than just a very normal part of being human. So you went out into the world with almost no real financial education, a head full of shame, and an Instagram feed full of people performing success. And your brain, doing exactly what brains do, looked at all of that and drew a conclusion. Everyone else knows something you don't. But here is the truth. Economist Anna Maria Lusardi spent years studying financial literacy across different countries, income levels, and education backgrounds. And what she found over and over again is that the gap between how financially confident people feel and how financially literate they actually are is enormous. Almost everywhere. Almost everyone. The person who looks the most in control is not always the most in control. They're often just the most practiced at looking that way. And this matters because the feeling you get, that low hum of not being good enough with money, that quiet panic when the topic comes up, that assumption that everyone else has a plan and you're the only one improvising, that feeling is not a reflection of reality. It is your 100,000-year-old comparison brain misfiring in a world it was never designed for. A world that, by the way, profits from making you feel behind. Because someone who feels financially inadequate is someone who is very easy to sell things to. So what do you actually do with this? First, understand that the scoreboard you've been measuring yourself against is mostly fake. The financial lives you're comparing yourself to are curated, selective, often propped up by debt you can't see and help you don't know about. Second, start having the real conversations. The ones where someone actually says, "I have no idea what I'm doing with money," or "I'm still figuring out how to save consistently," or "I messed up and I'm working my way back from it." Those conversations feel terrifying at first, and then you realize that the person across from you looks like they just exhaled for the first time in years, because they've been waiting for someone to say that out loud too. Third, stop waiting to feel ready before you start. The people who are genuinely good with money are not the ones who had some secret knowledge from the beginning. They are the ones who started making moves with incomplete information and got better over time. That's it. That's the whole secret. You looked at your phone. You felt that familiar drop in your stomach. That sense that everyone is ahead and you're the only one still at the starting line. But you were never at the starting line alone. You were surrounded by people who felt exactly the same thing and were just too scared to say so. Now you know. So what are you going to do about it?